Welcome back to another episode of NFT Catcher Podcast. We'd like to remind everybody that nothing on the show is meant as financial advice, and to please do your own research. Thank you, and enjoy the show.
Now the subject is NFTs.
They're known as non-fungible tokens, or NFTs.
NFTs are exploding in popularity.
This is a technology that will forever change the way people interact.
So it is happening whether you understand it and like it or not.
This phenomenon is moving. The digital.
You have now joined Jenny from the blockchain and Michael Keene on the NFT Catcher Podcast.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the NFT Catcher Podcast with me, Jenny from the blockchain, and my co-host, Michael Keene. Today, we're going to be doing a VeeCon recap episode. So this entire episode is dedicated to our experiences at VeeCon, all the people we met, all the things we did, and, all the fun we had. So we're excited to jump right into it. We're going to take it day by day. And we also have a very special clip to play a little towards the end. We are going to play our 5-minute interview clip with Gary Vee. So stay tuned for that part.
Heck yeah. What's up? Did you have fun?
I had an amazing time. Yeah. It was
for sure.
It was super fun. And what day did you get in?
I got in Thursday. I landed at about 11 a.m.
Okay. Yeah, I got in Wednesday, which Wednesday night. And as our listeners may or may not know, I think everyone should know, but in case we have new listeners, I was moderating some panels. So I was like the person asking the questions. I had 5 panels throughout the whole conference. And so I flew in Wednesday, and basically the VeeCon team flew out all the speakers and got them a hotel at Elliott Park Hotel, which was really nice. So yeah, I got to fly in first class, which was super cool. And a driver actually picked me up from my apartment to take me to the airport.
Wow.
And then from the airport to the hotel. So that was super special because I'm definitely not bougie and I have never flown first class or had a driver. So I was just this is wild. But that was super cool. And yeah, the hotel, there was a lot of, even throughout the whole event, I was always seeing speakers down in the lobby and, just people that I recognize in the Web3 space. Yeah. So yeah.
That sounded like a good hotel to be at. They treated you well. That's actually really, really nice that they did that for the speakers. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I think our 2 experiences are going to be a little bit different then.
Right. Well, we'll come at it from different points of view. And also I vlogged my whole experience starting from, when I first flew in, and it was quite the thing to vlog and kind of edit and put together short 2-minute videos for Twitter. And I ended up doing 19 different vlogs by the end of it. So yeah, if anyone wants to visually see my personal experience, it's on my Twitter, Jennifer_pseudo, but we're going to describe to you our experiences here for the podcast, since obviously this is audio only. But yeah, Thursday was the welcome party, which was a blast. There was a lot of people there. I was actually not expecting there to be so many people. It was this whole outdoor thing. And it was this big open space. And there was a bunch of, what's it called? Cornhole, games that people could play. There was a stage where there was DJ playing music. There was this section where Ferocious was doing this interactive painting thing where other people could come and paint. And there was the Gary Vee selfie area where he was just people were waiting in literally a 3-hour long line, which a lot of people waited in a line literally for nothing, but people waiting in lines. And some people were able to actually take a selfie with Gary Vee and meet him. And then he was also signing wine, Empathy Wines, just a lot happening. And then food trucks everywhere and just everything, just a lot of things happening at that welcome party.
Yeah. So here's my experience with the welcome party. Well, first of all, let's talk about the hailstorm. It was the weather was supposed to be kind of nice in Minneapolis, but
Yeah.
It got really cold as far as I'm concerned. It was nice and cold.
It hailed for a bit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which was
yeah.
like, oh my God, please don't tell me it's going to be hailing or snowing
I
or
know.
raining like during the welcome party, which was outside entirely. And it wasn't covered either,
Yeah,
So it was like,
yeah.
and they said rain or shine, we're going to do
Yeah.
it. Thankfully, it did not, there was no bad
No,
weather.
it cleared up. Yeah, it cleared up for it. And I showed up there. I think it was starting at 5. I showed up like right at 5, and it was like a giant city block. It was like a big square outdoor park where the party was.
Mhm.
There was a line that I don't even know if you saw this, that wrapped around the entire block.
Wow. How long did you wait in line to get in?
We were there for like a half hour and just realized it was almost useless.
Wow, really? So you didn't even get in?
I did not get into the pre-party. Went over to a local bar, and there were like people hanging out there. I was with my buddy Paul, who I traveled up with. A guy lives down here in Florida. We've been friends for a long, long time. He bought VeeFriends because I told him to a year ago, so he's into it.
Yeah.
And we went together, and we were with VGF as well, who we the three of us stayed in Airbnb together. So we went to this bar, and another guy came down, and we actually a new friend, a buddy that I made on this trip, Gusan, who I'm friends with now, came with us, and we hung out and had a nice, did that. And so I did not get into that party on Thursday night. We went out and had a nice dinner after that. So that was my Thursday. I had a special ticket to cut the line at the Ferocious thing because I own one of his paint NFTs, but I couldn't even get in. Get in. Yep.
Oh yeah. So okay, well, now there was a long line. Thankfully, I mean, look, I'm coming from like a speaker perspective, so obviously things are gonna be a little different here. But yeah, I could just go straight in. Like I just had to kind of go up. There's a little, speaker check-in or whatever section, and I just got my wristband and went on in. But yeah, there were a lot of people waiting to get into that. And even once you were in, there was long lines for everything. And, the food trucks, there were long lines. The ferocious thing you were talking about, long lines. And then, like I said, the Gary V selfie station thing and everything had just a long line. There was a lot more people than I personally thought was going to be there. And maybe even they thought was going to be there. I don't know, but it was cool. I actually did not stay for the whole thing. I want to say it was like, what did you say? 5 to 10 or something like that. It
might have even been 5 to 8 with like a performance afterward. I forget exactly.
Okay. Yeah. There might have, I think I left at like 8. And actually on my way out, which by the way, I ran into a lot of cool people at the actual welcome party as well. But on my way out, I ran into Mombot, who we've had on the show, previous guest of ours, Mombot, and she's really awesome. And she was so sweet. First of all, she dyed her hair all colorful. It looked awesome. And she had this like packet of like Mombot goodies. And there was, oh my God, I just opened it today. I was like trying to keep it in pristine condition. But it's just like a bunch of stickers and like, there's like this laminated card thing. And there's like this, it looks like a coloring book, but everything's already like colored. And it's like this book. And then like a sketch of hers that she did, which I'm like, I kind of want to frame this. Like, so that was super sweet. And she said she had 100 of them to give out to like, certain people that she connected with or something. You got one too. Michael got one, of course. There we go. Yeah. And see, you still kept your stuff in the.
I know. I'm scared to open it. It's so nice. There's that baseball card in there.
Yeah.
That company Gas. She said it could be like, they accept them at like PSA if you want to get it graded. But is that a real sketch? I didn't open it up. I didn't think it would be like.
I looked at it closely and I'm like, it really does look like a real sketch. I guess there's a possibility it's not, but it seriously looks like a real sketch. Like, so I think it is. Like, I don't know, maybe I should ask her.
Yeah.
But
nice.
Nonetheless,
that was a cool thing. I got to hang out with her Sunday is when I finally caught up with her after we did our interview.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm here with Mombot, who I had on the podcast, and I'm so excited that I met her literally right as I'm leaving too. And she has the cutest little mushroom here. Are you excited for your panel tomorrow?
Super excited. I'm ready.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess that was Thursday. After that I just went home and I went straight to sleep, or not home, the hotel, and went straight to sleep. Or edited vlog content and then went to bed. But yeah, and prepared for the next day. I pretty much did that every day. After I was done, I got back, edited the vlog, prepared for the next day, and yeah, slept.
Yeah.
No partying for me.
So on Thursday night, Gary V tweets, he knew there was the long lines, obviously. He tweets, I suggest everybody get to VeeCon by 7:15, 7:30 a.m. the next day. So we set our alarm 6:30, get up, get the Uber, get over there. We get there at about 7:25, 7:30, and the line is already like literally almost wrapped around the stadium. Like we were just walking and walking and walking. Wow. My buddy Joe Bradley was like 50 people in line. He said he got there at 4:30 a.m.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Because there were like these special hoodies that there was only 200 of each. I don't know if
that's
you heard
right.
about those.
Special merch. Yeah.
Yep. And there were like almost like fights, people trying to get them. It was kind of nasty. I heard.
Yeah.
So I so 7:30, get to the back of this line, and it starts to like drizzle. It's cold. And so that was the start of Friday. But the line actually moved us all in really fast. I'm not trying to say anything bad. I'm just telling my experience. The line did move really fast, and we got in. And a lot of times you actually meet people in those lines and have fun and talk to people. So it was all good. Mm-hmm. But there were definitely a lot of lines. Gary mentioned that on his closing speech Sunday.
He did. Yep.
He said that was on him.
Yeah. Yep. He has to improve that for next time. At least you recognize that.
Yeah. He always takes responsibility when something goes wrong. Even when like there was delays, he always says, "This is on me,"
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I don't remember what time I got there. I want to say maybe it was like 10 a.m. or something. And there was a special like entrance. Like they kind of walked you to the entrance if you were like a speaker or a talent or whatever. And there was no line for it, obviously. And then as soon as
must be nice.
Oh my God. And then as soon as we got in, there was like this like interview setup, like standing interview setup where there was a tiny line, like a couple people in it, if you wanted to kind of wait and get like interviewed. And it was going to be for either V friends or just some type of Gary V content that they were going to use it for. And so part of, the Vayner team. And so I did that. I did that little, like, it was like a 2-minute interview. And then got in and this lady, what was her name? Hannah. Shout out to Hannah. She was the one like showing us around. And she was like, okay, now we're going to -0. There's literally a floor, -0, which was like the backstage, behind the scenes. And she was like giving us a tour of the whole, here's the speakers lounge and here's where you can get food. There was like 2 different places for food and like, free water, free everything. And there was like a hair and makeup room. Like if I had a blister one of the days and I went in there and they like gave me like a special Band-Aid. Like, I don't know. It was just, they had a lot of things. Okay. And, that was super cool. And just being able to like walk around and seeing, like, I literally walked around. I saw Lisa Leslie. Like I saw, Beeple, actually, Briley, one of the, speakers on the panel I moderated, introduced me to Beeple, which is cool. And I also didn't know what to say. I just, hi, I'm Jenny from the blockchain. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to go now because I was like nervous. But yeah, it was really cool just walking around and, you run into a bunch of different people that are like familiar to you and maybe they're well-known in the Web3 space, or maybe they're, celebrities. I also saw Liam Payne from One Direction, which I was like, oh my God, Liam Payne. But I obviously didn't say anything to him either because I was like, I was too nervous for that. I wasn't about to say hi. So, but yeah, that was cool. And then I had one panel to moderate on Friday, which I was incredibly nervous because it was my first, it was day 1 of VeeCon. It was my first panel. I have spoken on stages in the past, but that was like years ago. And I just, it was just like a first time thing. And I felt like so nervous, but It went well. I mean, at least people told me, whenever people tell you, oh, you did a good job, I'm always kind of like, I don't know. Like, I kind of feel like they're lying to me. I did recognize that I got exponentially better after every day for the panels.
Yeah.
So, slowly but surely improving. But anyway, the panel was fashion, style, and NFTs. And it was with Michelle McCormick, who has a fashion NFT project in the space, and Todd Kahn, who they actually added in last minute. And he's the CEO of Coach. And he was like super humble and like down to earth and like super nice. And like before we even got on stage, he was like, I'm going to send you some Coach stuff. Just give me your email, okay?
Wow.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to make some jokes about that on the stage then. I'm going to be like, hey, can you send me some stuff? But yeah, he was like, and then even he saw me the next day and he's like, hey, remember to email me, okay? And I'm like,
oh,
okay.
wow, that's cool.
I finally emailed him and yeah, I'm excited for whatever he sends me. But that was a really fun experience. And let me tell you, like going up there on stage, like, oh my God, my mouth gets so dry. I think that's like my like nervous trait. Like, and I just like had a water and I kept drinking my water. I was like, oh my God, my mouth is so dry. And like, I'm just like drinking water every minute. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't understand how people don't drink water because yeah, it's just nerve wracking up there. But it was cool. And then, met a lot of people walking around. That stadium was huge. Like,
gigantic.
let me just say.
Gigantic. Oh, yeah. It's gigantic.
There was so much going on, too. So it was at the U.S., what is it called? U.S.
Bank Stadium. Yep, Minneapolis.
In Minneapolis, which I guess up to like 25,000 people could be there, but there was apparently 7,500 tickets sold.
That stadium fits 70-some thousand.
Oh, really? Okay, then I'm wrong. But yeah, so there was really, 7,000 or so people that were actually there. Obviously didn't fill up the whole stadium, but there was so much going on. So out on like the field type of thing, that's where the main stage was. There was a Ferris wheel. There were food trucks. There was cornhole. I feel like Gary Vee really likes cornhole because that was at the welcome party and the actual event. There was a giant checkers board. And then if you went up, like, first of all, you could sit in the bleachers if you wanted. But then if you went up, there was different rooms. So there was 4 different side stages where there was, panels going on. And then there was just other things happening too. So Subducts, World of Women, Women in Weapons, just to name a few, had like booths where they were doing whether, Subducts was doing like interviews in their booths. Women in Weapons, she was like autographing things, like people were waiting in line to get her autograph. Like there was just cool things happening. There was this like machine where you could spend 0.25 ETH and you could get like had a chance at some super valuable NFTs, or maybe you didn't get such a valuable NFT, but that was an interesting thing too. What else was there?
There was the whole setup of all of the acrylic toys of all like 100 and some characters from VeeFriends. They had all the toys made. There was our friend Betty had a setup there. Deadfellas, CyberCons was there. All around that top area. What else was going on there? That was it. Like all the projects and
and you could just walk around and meet people, and everybody was super. That was one thing too that I noticed. Everyone was super like nice and friendly and like open, to being talked to and everything. A lot of the times, just in our everyday lives, people are just minding their own business, doing their own thing. But this conference, it was truly a really cool networking experience, besides learning, right? Like you could, sit in on the panels and learn things like that. I think the networking was really just like, I think that was everyone's favorite part, and just connecting with people. And as the days went on and I hosted more panels, like people would just like stop me and come up to me and be, Jenny from the blockchain. And and I have to shout out actually there was this girl, I think her name was Sarah. She came up, she's like, oh my God, like I'm a super fan. Like I heard your sister's rap when it came out. Like she was like really excited, and she was really nice. And this guy, Nathan, he had me sign his Gary V book, and he said he binge listens to all of our episodes recently. Yeah. And he's like, I was there when Michael was like minting a cool cat and for that episode and everything. So it was cool to hear people that were, you know, fans of the show coming up, and even people that didn't even know about the podcast, and they were just like, oh, I saw you moderating, like great job.
Yep.
So yeah, and I didn't even see you, Michael, till
Sunday. No, well, at your speech on Saturday, I was.
Yeah, but well, we didn't connect, but
right.
You were there.
I was there. But yeah, no, that was really cool. You must have had people coming up to you constantly. I had maybe eight or nine people that like wanted to come up and take a selfie, which was great. Yeah. I on Thursday, before I could check into my Airbnb, I went to the Mall of America, and there was a booth there where they were making custom t-shirts. So I actually had the guy make a couple of the NFT Catcher podcast t-shirts with our new logo. So a couple people recognized me because of that. And this one lady in particular, her name was Mel, and she's from Australia. She came all the way from Australia. If you listen, Mel, reach out on Twitter, because I didn't know what her Twitter was, so I'm not sure exactly who it is. But she saw the shirt and she goes, oh, I'm a big fan of that podcast. And then all of a sudden she said, are you Michael? Like she like figured it out. And it was like, yeah.
I love that.
Oh, yeah, it was really funny. She like, you could see like she like put two and two together and was like, oh yeah. She was really, really nice and came all the way from Australia for the event. So we got to talk for a couple minutes, and we kept moving. But yeah, no, it's really nice. I mean, our fans are amazing. I definitely had a handful of people, you know, recognize me from the podcast and all that, and that's really special that that's happening. Yeah.
Yeah, and also, I guess this is an alpha leak for our next interview. On Friday, I met K Money 69, who's actually going to be our next guest. So stay tuned for that.
Nice.
But he's basically like the funniest NFT comedian in the space. And it was super cool to meet him in person. And actually, I went up to him and actually I was going to tell him this on the thing. I was going to say this on, you know what, I'll just say it for the next episode. I'm not going to say it now.
Okay.
Guys, I found somebody.
Hi. Are you building right now?
Yes.
Okay, I was about to leave, but you said you're building.
Thank God. The one and only K Money 69.
And then Roz, I have to say, I just love Roz so much. She's an ESPN host, or what is it? ESPN, like, I don't know what the word is, like reporter. Yeah, there it is. And she's like big Top Shot collector and everything. And I've just known her for a while. And she always says that me and Steph were her first Web3 friends. And she's just so awesome. She was, they would just like randomly pan to her, like on the Ferris wheel, being like, what's up, VeeCon? I'm on the Ferris wheel. And then she'd be like, behind.
Oh, that's right. Oh, she was the one doing the like up on the big thing. Hey, welcome to VeeCon. Okay. Yeah.
Yep. So and she's just so good at like, she's so comfortable, public speaking and being in front of the camera and everything. And I was like, Roz, do you have any advice for me? And she was like, talk slow and the audience is on your side. Just know. And I'm like, okay. But she's just so nice. And she's always like, she's just so sweet. And then she saw me the next day and she's like, I'm so proud of you. I saw you. You're doing a good job. And even when I had my final panel on the main stage on the last day, they panned to her and she was like, shout out to my girl Jenny from the blockchain.
Oh damn, that's what's
like,
up.
Oh my god. Yeah. So Friday was a blast.
Yeah, Friday was cool. And one more thing about Friday, Gary V actually kicked off the whole thing with about a 30-minute speech. Yeah, that happened in the morning before you got there.
Gary talked a lot too. Like he would just be on random panels. Like
exactly. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, he was. I mean, we'll be playing the interview clip a little later, but he kind of shares a little insight on. Michael had asked him, "Oh, you know, have you been enjoying yourself? Like, what's it like hosting this whole event?" And I guess you guys will hear that later. But But yeah, man, there were so many people there. So many people there.
Yeah. And Friday was good. So I didn't actually end up going to any of the auxiliary parties. I was end up doing like nice kind of dinners with people and then getting back and kind of, going to bed a little bit early. I'm not sure. You probably weren't going to the parties either.
No, I was very like focused, trying to be, I didn't want to drink. I didn't want to, I didn't want to do anything. I wanted to be like focused and good and healthy. So yeah, I retired my nights pretty early so I can get sleep and everything.
Smart. Yeah, for sure. There was like Steve Aoki played at the Armory, which is a big theater in Minneapolis. Yeah, there was a World of Women party. I heard the Vayner Sports party was really, really good. I didn't end up at any of them. I wasn't trying. There was one the first night I was supposed to go to at the mansion or whatever. I don't know if you heard about that, but like I just didn't want to end up going and waiting in another line. So I just, went out and had nice dinners with my friends. Yeah.
I do want to say, just as a side note, the event was for the amount of things going on, it was incredibly organized, in my personal opinion. And going into it, I was kind of like, oh God, like this might be a little chaotic, but it wasn't. It was very organized in the way that they did everything. And, when there wasn't panels or speeches or anything happening on the main stage, they would be showing either, something happening on the side stage, a panel happening on the side stage, or, maybe they would pan to Roz, like commentating on things, or they would just always have things going on. So there's always something going on, and things flowed really well too. Like as a speaker, they were really organized with like, okay, we're going to mic you up and then you're going to go out and you're going to do that. And then, they were just really good at keeping everyone on track and making sure everything flowed nicely. So I just wanted to say that.
They did handle it well. It was actually kind of cool to have like the whole giant stadium to ourselves. Cause like nothing got too like packed in it was cool. And another thing that happened on Friday, TLC was supposed to perform, but I guess apparently they were quarantined for COVID. And the surprise performance was Wyclef. Did you see or hear that at all?
I saw that on Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah. And why, it's another older name, but when I was in high school, the Fugees were gigantic. And when I was in college, his album, The Carnival, I really loved. So like, I just thought that was kind of a special little thing. I never saw him perform before. It was a half hour.
Yeah, I didn't actually go to any of the conferences because they were kind of later. It was like
they were late. Yeah, but he
7
came on at
8 to 9 or something. Yeah. Which I guess that's not that late, but I wish I had to edit my vlogs and like.
No, they were long. They were long days if you were there all day. That's for sure. Yeah, for sure.
100%. Yeah, so it was just a lot to do.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so that was Friday. So then we moved into Saturday, and I actually slept in a little bit. Showed up about 10 o'clock or so, maybe 10:30. Showed up, caught the Guy Oseary Gary V speech, which was really cool. If anyone doesn't know Guy Oseary, he's one of the, I don't know how to describe what he does, but he's like marketing, or he's involved with Bored Apes, with World of Women, with Beeple. He's the one that put the Madonna Beeple thing together. He was Madonna's manager for like 30 years. He's like just a real sharp, smart dude. They had a really good conversation about, what brought him to NFTs, to Web3. That was really interesting to listen to. The guy Siri Gary. And then we had your panel.
Yes, I had 2 panels on Saturday. Which, oh my God, I gotta find the thing that says, okay, let me try to remember it because I don't have the best memory with stuff, but okay. The first panel was, I believe the first panel was decentralized storytelling. And both of my panels were actually at the Gratitude Grove, and they were kind of back to back, but there was one panel like in between. So it's kind of convenient that I was like already there. Yeah. The first one actually was like half an hour, which was like longer than like most of them were. Or no, it was 33 minutes.
It was long. That was a long one. Yeah.
Most of them were 25 minutes. And so I was like, okay, I'll just do a Q&A at the end. And I was able to have like 4 people ask a question, which was fun. I just wanted to do something interactive. But anyway, that was decentralized storytelling with Julie Pacino, Sam Heisel, and People Pleaser.
Yep.
So, and that was a great panel. I really enjoyed that panel a lot. And I felt a lot better for that panel. And then the second one that day was physical to digital, which was Amber Vittoria, Nadine Gaffar, I forget her last name, and then what's his name? Trevor Jones. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those were the three people for that. And that was actually short. That was actually like, I think 20 minutes. I think it was like kind of a little bit shorter of a panel, but that was fun too. I think we got like one question in at the end. And yeah, and then I was like, okay, cool. My panels are done. It went well. And then I just met a lot of people. I mean, I saw Crypto Storm there. I'd have to look back at my videos to see who everyone I ran into.
So I actually really enjoyed your first panel. I didn't get to the second one, but it was very good. It was packed to the gills. It was like 1 million people.
People were like standing in the back. And it was like,
yeah, they were. Yeah, I was. I was back where I was standing next to Matt Medved, and you had Sam Heisel, they work for NFT Now together, co-founders. And I met Matt almost a year ago to the day. It was like June 1st at an event called NFT Basel in Miami. First ever NFT event I went to right after we launched, just a couple weeks after we launched the NFT Catcher. And so I saw Matt was recording Sam when he was talking about NFT Now. And right when it was over, I gave him a little nudge. I said, what the heck is NFT Now? Never heard of it. And he looked over and laughed. And then I said, I'm Michael Keene. We met. And I said, as soon as I said we met, he goes, I remember we met at NFT Basel. And I was like shocked that he remembered that. He goes, he's like, I know NFT Catcher, because we did have a conversation there for a while. And he was running around interviewing people. The next day he interviewed Ferocious. But like, I couldn't believe that he remembered who I was, because, he's like relatively big name in the space. Everybody knows the guy. Like, he, does all kinds of cool stuff and is on like all.
You're Michael Keene. Come on. Michael Keene from the NFT Catcher.
I guess. Yeah. I know. I guess at this point, but I was just shocked that he like remembered, because I wasn't anybody. I was nobody. I was in a t-shirt, like, and he remembered. He remembered right where we met. And that was impressive. So I gained another level of respect for the guy. I'm a fan already, but I definitely did. So I thought that was pretty cool. And Farouk was back there watching your speech. Farouk, O'Shiny, D's, because they were all going on the panel right after you.
There's a kind of bright light, so it's hard to see like super back there. Although I do remember shouting you out, and when we first got up, I was like, "Oh, hey, my co-host Michael Keene."
And the place went absolutely wild when you did that.
No, you know what? Some people cheered when, and I think that even on one of my panels, I was like, "Does anyone listen to my podcast?" And then like people like cheered, and I was like, "Oh my god, there's actually some people in here that listen."
Really?
Yeah. Like I was like, "Oh shoot, let's go." So that was fun. But yeah, that was cool. I was trying to get to you actually, and then a couple of people came up to me, 2 people, and they were like, "I just took a picture with Michael Keene. I gotta get one with you too." I was like, "Where is he?" And then I was trying to find you, but then I thought I lost my phone, so then I was like panicking, like, "Oh my god, where's my phone?" I was trying to find it. So.
Oh yeah. No, that room was packed. It was pretty hectic. And then the next panel was that Farouk one.
Oh my god, let me tell you, it was for sure. So the panels on the first 2 days. So the panels are back to back. Okay. There's kind of this like 5-minute buffer period in between. But what happens is as soon as the panel ends, and you're like, okay, thank you, everybody. Everyone claps, and then they rush to the stage because it's pretty easy to kind of just go to the stage. So they rush to the stage and they like start talking to the speakers and stuff. So then they're like, okay, everyone they tell the speakers to kind of move. So then they tell you,
is everybody like, hey, I have a project coming out. Can you check out my project?
So then when they tell you, like, oh, get up there, go command the stage. You get up there, there's everybody standing and talking. And like, you have to, and I had, all right, guys, everybody take your seats, like sit down. next panel, we're starting the panel right now. Like and for a solid 2 minutes, I have to be like, take your seats. And then finally, like everyone sits down. I'm like, oh my God. And then I have to start it. But it's like, you have to like go in there and be like, everyone's not just like silent, seated, like they're like loud and like, like standing up. And, but I did it. I think I did a solid job of that. I actually saw I don't know who it was, and I also don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but this like moderator, I think it was on day one. I was just watching side panels to kind of take notes, and oh man, I felt so bad. Mm-hmm. He was like, first of all, he was sitting down, he wasn't standing up, and he was like not being very loud, and he's like, guys, we're starting. Hello.
Oh no.
Okay, so and literally for 5 minutes, it was like torture. I felt so bad, and then finally, literally someone in the audience like did like a loud whistle, like like that, whistle, and then a lot of people, and then people like quieted it down, and then like he started. But I was like, oh no, like I was like, I can't let that be me. Like I gotta get people to be quiet right away. So yeah.
That's amazing.
But anyway,
there were a couple other good speeches on Saturday too of note. Maybe the three of the smartest guys in the entire building had a panel. Richard with an E, Nate, Alex, and Andy. It's like Andy 90 something. Yeah, that was really interesting. That guy Richard is really.
Oh yeah, what was the title of that panel? Do you remember?
No, I could look it up on the app.
I was just interested. I did see a picture on Twitter of that. I didn't even know Richard was there. I would have loved to meet him. Actually, all of them I would have loved to meet, but
yeah, that was a really good panel. Really just like you could just tell like computer smart, like whatever, I looked over my buddy Paul at one point. I said Richard was talking. And I said, this guy's probably the smartest guy in the entire building.
Oh my God. And oh my God, Richard, we had talked about him a few times. I remember when, who was it that put a WETH offer for like some crazy amount, like 2,000 ETH or something on his CryptoPunk? Cause he's like,
10 million. It was $10 million.
I'm never selling this. And someone tried to call his bluff and they put like a $2 million WETH offer. They removed it like 2 hours later, and he's like, not accepting it, and everyone's like, what, bro, you're crazy, like just accept it, like you can buy like so many punks with that. But he's like, no, this one is my identity, and it's like this like 3D glasses one, and he's had it for a while.
He was wearing 3D glasses at the event.
Oh, I love that.
He was
that's fun.
It also looked like he had extras to give to people when he took selfies with them, because like they were wearing them also.
Nice.
In his selfie pictures.
That's fun.
Yeah, that was a good one. There was your buddy Liam Payne and Logan Paul did a speech.
The room was, that was on the main stage, and the seats were filled up for that. Like people came out to see, and that was on Being Famous. So I was like, I mean, obviously both of them are very well known. Like everybody knows One Direction, everybody knows Logan Paul, like for the most part. And so that was honestly just as packed as when Snoop was talking on the last day.
Okay. Yeah. No, it really was. I like Logan Paul a lot. Actually, I like listening to him. I know people have their opinions, but I like that guy. I think he's smart. I think he's going to like continue to grow as a personality and really do, like, he might be like a movie star, or I don't even know what he'll end up doing, but he's going to do something. And
started out cool. Just as a Vine content creator, like just just some dude, making funny videos on Vine. Like, it's just crazy how people can people are just very ambitious. They just do things and then just pivot and do more things and grow and, grow their brand and their following. I definitely sat in on that. I also really enjoyed, I forget what the panel was called, but I think it was like a Women in Web3 panel. But it was with Huda. I don't know how to say her last name, but she has the thing I collect more than NFTs is makeup. I'm like super into makeup. And she has a makeup brand, Huda Beauty, which is like super, super popular. And, I have a lot of her makeup. And so I was like so excited to see her there and on a panel. I think I even saw her like backstage, but I was like some people I'm just like too nervous. I'm like, no, I can't go up to them. And some people I'm like, hey, let's take a video together. But anyway, it was one of those people I was like, oh, I can't do anything. Let me just look at her. But it was her and Eva Longoria, and they were both talking, and I just loved what they had to say. And Eva said something that really stood out to me too. And she was saying, like, sometimes like women kind of feel like they need to be really good at something in order to do it. Or they're like, oh, I don't know that much yet. Or whereas guys, they kind of don't always think like that. And they'll just be like, oh, I'm the best person for the job, even though they're like not experienced at all. And I was like, man, yeah, that just mental limitations, right? Like holding you back. And I remember I definitely used to be like that, where I used to feel like, I can't do this or that because I'm not that good. And now, my mentality, which is what I think has gotten me to the point where I'm at now, and why that resonated with me, is that I'll just try. Even if I'm not good at something, I'm like, I don't care. I will try it anyway. And someone was even asking me, they're like, when they told you you're going to have a panel on the main stage, because you said you were really nervous for it, like, why didn't you just say no? And I was like, because I'm not going to pass up an opportunity that's golden, even if I don't feel extremely competent. I'm going to just try anyway. And the worst thing that happens, I make a complete fool out of myself. And that's okay. It's not a big deal. I'm not afraid to embarrass myself. And I think that's the main thing. Like, I'm not afraid to make mistakes, not afraid to embarrass myself. And yeah, I thought that was a great panel, and I really enjoyed that one a lot.
Yeah, I heard that too. Definitely. I found that interesting, them talking about that. It's actually good to hear your perspective on what they were saying. Cause I was listening to it and I was like, I guess that's just interesting to hear that perspective.
Yeah.
For sure. And it makes sense for sure. So that was a good panel. Eva Longoria, it was funny. You said earlier, everybody was walking around and talking and very approachable. We saw Eva Longoria walking around the concourse, and she was surrounded by like five bodyguards, like big.
We saw her backstage. I don't think there was a ton of bodyguards, but she was like with her family. It was like, I saw kids there and everything like that. Yeah. Yeah, she was just like walking around casually back there. And then Maha, who does PR for Gary Vee, was the one moderating that panel. And she was actually the one where when we went into the, what was it called? The turf thing to interview Gary Vee. He came in, he's like, turf. She came in and 19, she was like, she saw me. She's like, hey, she's like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, oh, I'm, Michael's my co-host. And she's like, oh, because I was like, I know you, but I don't know what you're doing in here. And he did. Like, I didn't know you had this podcast, but yeah. But she's awesome. I've actually met her. I can't remember where I met her, but I know that I've met her at an event before, and she's just like the nicest, like sweetest, and I don't know. She's super nice. People were just super nice there.
They were. Everybody. It was a good vibe.
Vibe. And I have to say thank you to Sup Ducks, and specifically Austin, who helped me get some content. He recorded I have to send you the video after this, Michael. I sent it to Andy, but the video of us interviewing Gary Vee. So now we have a video version, and I know Twitter only does 2 minutes, so maybe I'll figure something out for trimming it and uploading it. But and then he also filmed one of my panels as well. And just whenever he was free, he kind of helped me with some content. So yeah, I really appreciated him for doing that for me.
That's what's up. Yeah. So should we talk about how the interview kind of went and came about on Sunday morning?
Yeah. I mean, Sunday, next day. So.
All right. Yeah. So I was supposed to be in the boardroom bleachers, and that's where I told you to meet me. And I went up there, and a couple of my friends were there, Ron and Alyssa Jordan and their whole crew, like, were just there. So I was like, oh, what's up? Talking to those guys. And they were so excited. I was like, Gary's coming here in like 20 minutes for me to interview him. And then I texted Maha, who we were just mentioning, and I said, hey, I'm in, bleacher D8 or whatever it was. And she was like, oh no, you got to come down to Field Turf Suite 19. So I was like, oh my God. And I went out and I asked the lady how to get there. And there were those people that were going to walk me down. And then I ran into you
right there. Perfect timing.
Yeah. Yeah, it really was. It was good timing. and we ran down there together. And I got back in the speakers lounge, the talent lounge or whatever, the creators lounge, whatever they called it. I actually, believe it or not, I hung out there for about 3.5, 4 hours. I didn't want to leave.
I was wondering what you, because I left because I needed to go like prepare for the main stage panel, but I was wondering what you were going to do because now you were backstage, right? So I was like,
right, and I wasn't going to get back in if I left, so I was there all. I was there all day.
What did you do? Like where did you go?
Well, there was all kinds of people to hang out and talk to back there. My buddy Joe was back there, who was in that room with us, and I hung out with him, and that's where I saw Mumbot, and Creatrix was back there, and
like in the suite or just like in that area. Okay,
in that area, but then the suite next door was kind of open for everybody. Number 18. So like a lot of us hung out there and sat on those couches. And I actually made friends with a guy named Rob, who is Gary Vee's childhood friend. They're like good buddies. When we were in New York at the Royal Society of Players party, and we made friends then. And I saw him again back there. So I went up, said, "What's up?" We talked for a little bit. And so there was just a lot of people were walking. That's where I met Drifter Shoots back there. Yeah, that was really cool. And I sent the picture of, I didn't take any selfies hardly with anybody, but I did one with him because I wanted to send it to my buddy Emmanuel, who I knew would love it because he loves that guy. He's the guy that reached out to Drift for us to try and get him on the podcast, if you remember. So yeah, so that was really cool. So we got down there and it was in like this like turf suite, basically a suite. There's all kinds of food and drinks, whatever. And then all of a sudden they ushered Gary in, and we have the laptop and the microphone set up, and they shut the door for us to keep it quiet. And Gary's like, "Where do you want me?" Loaded him up, and we went for almost 6 minutes.
Cue to the clip. All right, I'm with my podcast host, Michael Keene. Hey. But yeah, are you excited?
Let's go. Can't wait.
We're co-hosts, by the way.
Yeah, we're co-hosts. We do NFT Catcher Podcast. We're 59 episodes in. So this is Michael and Jennifer live from the floor of VeeCon with Gary Vee. Unbelievable. Thank you for seeing us. And if you remember the call, I actually have a little gift for you. We talked about Hugh Douglas, just a tiny token.
All-time great Jet and Eagle.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of those.
No.
I loved Hugh Douglas.
Yeah, he's
Number
awesome.
99.
Yeah, for sure, man. So, well, congratulations on the big week. We're just... What I guess the only question I really had, we're going to play this for the podcast. So I'd like to hear, kind of a prediction on the space, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, Web3, NFTs, metaverse, something that we can kind of play back in the future and hear what do you think is coming?
10 years from now, every single, 77% of Americans and first world country citizens own an NFT. There you go.
Yeah.
Lock it.
Yeah.
Lock
an
it.
NFT. Are we still going
to
be calling them? Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
That's a great question. Yeah. I actually been saying that a couple times because I lived through when we called Twitter and YouTube and Facebook Web 2.0 such, not social media. I've been wondering if the word NFT will change. Digital good, digital asset. Somebody will come out and write the signature post or piece or video that might change our lexicon. I'm curious about that. I don't think it ends up mattering. The thing that people need to understand is the reason NFTs are going to be owned by everybody is not everybody wants to collect art or collectibles.
Right.
But everybody will realize that NFT's ultimate future is not what it is now, collectible with a hint of utility. It's going to be utilities with hints of collectability. They will be tickets, they will be access.
I've heard you say that.
It's my number one thing. Like, the internet wasn't just to look up information. But it took 25 years for us to all know that. Yep. 25 years ago, people didn't know how to put in www. Actually, when I first launched WineLibrary.com, if you typed in WineLibrary.com, it didn't protocol properly. You had to put in the www. Like, that's stuff that we don't even think about anymore. Yeah, AOL dial-up, your mom picked up the phone and you were knocked off the internet. Think about what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, it takes time
Jennifer's
to shift.
Too young to remember all that stuff.
I know. Jen, it's really cool history.
Yeah.
We didn't have the internet.
Yeah, right. I know. And she's been amazing. You did a great job picking a host for a lot of the panels. I went and watched them, and it's all been really fun, man.
I'm very humbled.
Yeah, I guess I'll get...
Yeah, get up in there.
Let me get closer to the mic so we can pick this up. But my question for you,
about to have a panel on the main stage that I'm moderating, generative art. Very excited, by the way, and humbled, that you invited me here. And I'm just curious if you had any advice for me.
At that level, when you're like, oh, this is a big thing, like I always go into make pretend nobody's there, ask, as a moderator, ask the question that we want answered.
Okay. Cool.
There's no difference in asking me right now than asking in front of them. There's just some people watching, but there's more people listening to this right now than are out there watching that.
True.
It's just not happening in front of your face.
It's just different because you can't see the people listening.
You close your eyes.
Oh my God, I can't close my guys, I'm just going to close my eyes for this. Don't mind
me. Good luck. It's going to be great.
Thank you.
One of the things I want to do with VeeCon is put people on. People as moderators. I mean, this is VeeCon, and we have exhibitions for, women and weapons and dead fellas, and, and we have every project here. Like, I wanted to live my thesis of 1 + 1, not or. This isn't a VeeCon, VeeFriends shill fest where it's an insular event, right? This is more a Comic-Con than a Marvel industry, right? I want this to be for the space. I'm going to accomplish what I need to for my community and for myself. That I feel very confident about. I want VeeCon to be something for the space because I want it for the space because that's in the best interest of my VeeFriends, right?
Yeah.
Like the best thing for my community is for them to do well with other projects, learn from other projects. And if you listen to all my talks, there's been very few times I've been on stage where I haven't tried to push my audience to ask themselves, should they have their own project? And I think selflessness is the core strength of business. I know that most people can't see that, don't believe it, haven't seen it manifested yet, but I'm going to put pressure on that conversation.
Beautiful. And has this been a blur? Have you actually had fun yourself this weekend?
I haven't had as much fun as I actually anticipated because I forgot, because I haven't done it in a while, that when you're the host, you're the host. Yeah. And like, if any of you have parents or grandparents, or if you come from immigrant families, which I think it's a very common tradition, there's just like a high anxiety level of like being the host.
Making sure everyone's happy.
Exactly. And like at this scale, you're just worried about things. Like I walk by the Ferris wheel, I'm like, I hope nobody falls off of it. And
that thing, I'm like, I am not on that.
It's like a ski lift.
The food truck, I'm like, oh man, I hope nobody chokes on a taco. Like, you're just worried about shit. You're worried about shit. And so I haven't yet, but I'm aware that it's going well. I would be lying. I know it's going well.
It's going great, yeah.
It's going awesome. Everyone's having fun. Everyone I'm talking to, and
the vibes have been
auxiliary events and everything. It's been a blast.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys.
Amazing.
Cheers.
Thank you so much.
Good luck.
Thank you so much. Okay, so that was our quick 5-minute interview, which was fun, and I really liked the Gary Vee was like, I like to put people on, and I felt like that's what he was like doing with me as having me as a moderator. So I'm like, it's like you question a bit. You're like, there's all these, well-known people speaking and everything, and it's like, why am I here? Like, why was I invited? But it was just really cool, and honestly.
You were invited because you're awesome and you deserve.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm not joking. No, it's the truth. Like you could MC the whole thing next year. Like,
damn.
Sure. You absolutely, you were better than most of the moderators.
I think my last day, that third day, was my best day. And I guess I am kind of critical of myself, but I think I did solid on the main stage, and shout out to everybody that took like videos and photos and like tweeted them out. Like, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Also, quick side note, really quick. On the second day, actually, one of my side stage panels got projected onto the main stage screens, which I didn't know till I saw it on Twitter. So also thank you for telling me on Twitter. Thank you for that too. But the panel, oh my God. So I have to talk about my main stage panel because I was like, really, the information, I was like, oh my God, this is really great, like information. And so the panel was generative art with Tyler Hobbs, who is the creator of Fidenza, and Eric Snowfro Calderon, who is the founder of Art Blocks and the creator of
chromey squiggle. And generative art, by the way, is basically like, it's like you're programming. It's like a combination between coding and the human, kind of seeing what like the human is like coding, and that's how you're creating, is you're coding. And then the art is only as good as the code. Like, it's like very interesting. And I never really knew what generative art was, or kind of like, I didn't really fully understand it. And also one of my big takeaways too was when Snowfro, Eric, founder of Art Blocks, he was saying like that for generative art on art blocks, they have really high standards for artists that, put their work on there, and they have to kind of do things a certain way. So that basically like right now, like for example, your Bored Ape profile picture, right? And my doodle, it looks good right now, but like in the future, when things get advanced, it's going to look super, maybe it'll look like super pixelated, or just the quality won't look as good because it'll be kind of like outdated. And like with generative art, or at least on art blocks, it's like the way it's programmed is the quality will kind of conform to whatever. And so like in the future, when we have these crazy high definition things and whatever, it's going to look the same, like just as good, which I thought was like really interesting. I never really thought about it like that, or thought about the fact that is like a thing. Or even, how the importance of generative art, and like, I feel like not many people know about it. I do want to figure out a way to post that panel, because I thought it was so informative. But anyway, from my perspective, being on the main stage, I guess, let me talk about that. Like I said, my mouth gets dry. I get kind of nervous, but they were just like, this lady was like, take a deep breath. And she was like telling me like positive mantras about me. I was like, oh my God. She was like really just like trying to hype me up. And then she's like, when you go out there, like you gotta like, be excited and whatever. So then, yeah, you gotta walk on the stage, and then there's all these people looking at you, and then they put you on the big screen. And then, but once you sit down and start talking, I mean, I had my phone where I had the questions, whereas for my side panels, I had note cards, which I felt like I liked the phone better because I thought it was a little smoother. I mean, I definitely wasn't going to just go up there with nothing. Like I said, I don't have the best memory, so I need to be able to have my phone, or at least have questions to lean back on. So, yeah. And one thing I learned from the side stage panels is that I made some of them, like for day 1 and day 2, I made some of the questions a little too beefy and a little too much, to where I was like, okay, I'm looking down, reading this whole note card. And for the main stage, I kind of learned from that. I'm like, let me make these questions short to where I can just look down, see it, and then be looking at them when I ask my question. I don't have to be looking down at something while asking it. I can actually be looking at them. So, yeah. And anyway, it honestly was a lot less stressful than I thought it would be. And I was way more nervous for the first day than I was for the main stage by the time it got to it. So yeah, I felt good. And I thought I did well. And people said I did well. So that was good.
You did. No, you honestly did. You crushed it. Everybody was telling me, like, even when the ones I didn't see, people were saying you did a great job and all that stuff. So
the key is to appear like you're totally fine, even. And I'm like clenching my jaw, like smiling. But it was definitely fun. And then right after that, I got golf carted to my next panel, because it was like immediately after. I had 15 minutes before the next one. And it was side. I almost forgot about it. I was like, oh shoot, yeah, that was the next panel to go to. It was a side stage one. That one was super cool. It was packed out. Like people were there to see the panelists. We had Jen Stark, we had Brilly, and we had Greg Mike, who were all just like super amazing artists. The topic was physical to digital. I mean, Brilly's more of a digital artist.
That was the one they put on the main screen, if I'm not mistaken.
Did they? No, I don't know if they put that one on the main stage, but they had put my panel with my No, they put the physical to digital, but the one from Saturday with Amber Vittoria and Trevor Jones. And so that's the one. It was the same title. It was the same topic, actually. It was just different speakers. But and then I was able to do a Q&A at the end of that one as well. And it was just fun. And everyone and all the speakers, like all the people that I had on the panels, they were so nice, and they were so just like, especially for being, it's like, they're like highly notable people in the space. It's like a lot of these people are just very down to earth and just like genuine people. And and even Tyler Hobbs and Snowfro was like, they were so nice. And we took a picture right before, and Tyler Hobbs like tweeted it out, and he was like, we're all three gonna have this like connection forever, because we're all on this like panel together on the main stage, and like this is a special moment.
That's amazing.
Special. Everything was just special. It was just really fun event all around.
It was really cool. What else happened? Our buddy Sal DeGuardia got to interview Beeple.
Really?
For his radio show.
My God.
It was totally spontaneous, but Beeple showed up wherever he was recording and hopped in for a few
exciting.
minutes.
Yeah. That's very exciting.
Yep. And another shout out to my buddy Mitch Putnam, who I've mentioned a bunch of times on this show. First time I ever met him. He lives in the suburbs of Minnesota. So he bought a ticket for like 0.16 or 0.17, like on Saturday morning, and came in and hung out for Saturday. And then it was great to hang out. And first time I ever saw him, really nice. And then did you see during the Snoop and Gary and Champ Medici and who was the other guy that was on there? It was like Nick Adler or something. But so during that speech at the very end, Gary says, oh, by the way, we're going to do a collab with Snoop Dogg and the VeeFriend ticket. And sometime this summer or fall, there's going to be an activation with the ticket. The ticket goes from 0.19 floor. Yeah, all the way up. It got to 0.9 because, they all got eaten up. That was one of the most brilliant marketing moves I've ever seen in my life.
Literally, we pull up OpenSea. My boyfriend was there, by the way, and super. Yeah. Did you meet him or no?
Yeah, we met when we were. We talked just for a couple minutes, and we were walking down. We also met in Miami.
Yeah, and he like recorded all of my panels. He's just very like supportive and was like super helpful, and I really appreciate him. But yeah, he like pulled up OpenSea, and it was like every like second there was like a VeeFriend being sold, or not VeeFriend. Yeah. What was it called? VeeCon ticket NFT.
The VeeCon
now
ticket,
it has settled down to 0.39. But yeah, like you said, it literally in like minutes it shot up to 0.9.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
Yeah. It was crazy. It was a brilliant marketing move, and it's really cool for all the people there. They could, a lot of people pay for the trip. I mentioned Mitch, and I mentioned that because I texted Mitch, and he sold his for 0.6 after paying 0.19 the day before or whatever. Yeah, amazing. Like if there was ever a advertisement for NFT tickets, it's that. Like you could continue to sell your ticket after the event if the people that put the event on add value to it. Like, wow.
Yeah. And I love that they decided to add value to it. Like, it's not just like, it's just the VeeCon 2022. And now it's just a little, memoir or whatever the word is.
He said he would do that. He actually hinted at that like a month or two ago. He goes, I can do whatever. He's like, we're not burning the tickets. He's like, I could do whatever I want with them. He said that about a month or two ago. Yeah, that was amazing. That was just freaking brilliant. Like they didn't even say what they're doing. You know what I mean? They just said, there's going to be something.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
There's actually Snowfro designed the tickets.
Yeah, that's Snowfro artwork. One of a kind, generative, 10,300 of them or whatever.
Pretty dope.
Yeah.
I just like was thinking about Snowfro and Tyler Hobbs in that panel, and right before we're in this like speakers lounge, and there's this kid. His name is Nick. What is it? Nick Kroll or something like that. I forget, but he like sold out of
the comedian. I remember Nick Kroll.
No, Nick Small. Sorry.
Right?
So he's this kid. He's 13 years old, and he sold out a project.
Oh, I met him. I met him in the backstage.
I was like, "What are you doing here?" He's like, I don't know. They just let me back here. Like they just like. I was like, "Are you hosting panels or something?" No, they just let me come back here. And anyway, he was so funny. He cracked me up. But he was like, "Wait, aren't you the Hale girl?" And he had seen. So I posted like, a bunch of 2-minute vlogs like throughout the whole like conference. And one of the vlogs was just like me recognizing that it was hailing and whatever. And that one happened to go viral and get like 19,000 views, which is, I think, a lot, like for Twitter. He was like, "Yeah, I saw your video on Hale, and that's how I know you." I was like, "Oh my God, that's just too funny." And actually a couple people said that, "I loved your Hale video." Like, what?
It was good. It was good. When you turned around with like the big shocked face, like that was good. It was good.
And I'm like, that's literally my least effort video that took me like no time to make. And all my other ones taking like, so long to like, put together and everything. And it was like, that's the one that goes viral. Of course.
It's amazing how that works, isn't it?
What? Yep. Why is this the one?
So I'm looking at Nick's Twitter right now. I actually met him as well. He's got selfies with everybody, Gary and like everybody. That's so funny. We should try and get him on.
I would love to get him on. He's cool. Very, and like 12 years old or 13 years old, like just in that silly phase where it's just, kids are just like goofy when they're like 12, 13. And I don't know why. He just cracked me up, but also like, he was so like ambitious and everything and so like extroverted and, that's just like,
he knew what was going on. He was cool.
Oh yeah. Huge props to him for, especially being a kid. I mean, damn, when I was 13, I was super shy. No way I would have done that. But, backstage, VeeCon, just going around, asking for selfies and everything.
I'm going to snag a couple of his. He's got 1,000-piece project, 150 ETH trading already. Yeah, I'm going to snag.
What's the floor at?
It's 069.
Oh, wow.
So it's affordable. Yeah, there's 1,000 pieces, 540 owners. It's called Ranchy R.
Yeah.
Ranchy R. Ranchy Rednecks.
Yeah.
Apparently. Yep. It's cool.
Okay. Well, anything else? I mean, I feel like I ran into so many people and a lot of people that I've known in space for a while, and even some people that I've known from years ago when I used to go to entrepreneur events, and sometimes I'll speak at them, and just a lot of people. And I wish I could shout out everybody, but it would be a long list. But yeah, if you're listening to this and I met you, I appreciate you. And man, that was just so cool. Like, just connecting with people is like my favorite thing, just meeting people and chatting, and it's just awesome.
Yep. That's always the best part about these conferences. We said it from New York and Miami, and it's just, it's just the best part is the people you meet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And everyone was just so supportive and cool. And oh my God, the lines, I'm just thinking about the lines for meeting Gary and taking like a picture with him at the actual conference. Wow.
Like 4 hours long, literally 4 hours long.
That's some dedication to be standing in those. I did meet some people that met him though. And they would have like signed shirts or whatever. And I'd be like, hey, did you meet Gary? And yeah, I stood in that super long, selfie line, and but it was clearly worth it to them. So, but I guess anything else we have to talk about? I feel like that was pretty much it. I mean, I ended up leaving Monday night. Monday, I went to the Mall of America. Actually, somebody recognized me at the Mall of America, and they had me sign their book. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then at the airport too. Someone recommended. They're like,
wow,
Jenny,
You're becoming really famous. You're becoming really famous right now.
No, you know what's so funny too? Actually, a couple of people, they were like,
wait till you're not even going to be able to walk around New York. New York, you're going to have to be like, Eva Longoria with like bodyguards and stuff.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I don't think so. I think just, I mean, obviously it was like, I was moderating a lot of panels. So it was like, people just saw me on and they're like, okay, I saw this girl on the stage. So, but, yeah, I think it was just within VeeCon. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, a couple people asked me, "Are you famous?" And I was like, "No, I'm not famous." Because they would see like someone else like come up and ask for a picture or something, and then, "Are you famous?"
Oh my god!
Like
yes, I am.
And if I was, I wouldn't be like, what if I was like Eva Longoria and someone, "Are you famous?" What would she say? She would be like, "Yes, I am famous."
She'd be like, "Hey, get the hell."
But I'm like, oh,
don't talk to me. She's like, don't talk.
She wouldn't even respond. She would just keep walking.
Right.
Anyway, all right. Well, I guess that wraps it up.
Yeah, we went over a lot. That was a busy weekend.
Yeah, we did, and
I'm glad you had a good experience.
Great experience.
And I did too. It's just thanks to all my friends that hung out. And, we had nice dinners and did all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah. And the next event that both of us are going to, by the way, if you're listening to this and you're like, man, VeeCon sounded like a blast. I want to be going to some NFT events. Next thing coming up, NFT NYC. Here's the alpha. Nobody really buys a ticket to the conference. They just go to New York.
Yep. Just show up to New York. That's all you got to do. You can hang out in Times Square and have
but there's a ton of I call it satellite events, basically events thrown by projects or, different people in the space. They'll just throw events and there'll be just dozens of events happening every single day. Even if you go on NFT NYC, there's like a satellite event section and you can see all the events that are happening and you can kind of RSVP and stuff like that. So I am going to be collabing on an event June 22nd. The venue isn't officially locked in just quite yet, so I'm still refraining from saying the information. But yeah, June 22nd is when my collab event will be. But it'll be a blast. Come to New York if you want to network with NFT people, and that is June. I'm going to be there. Oh yeah, Michael, you should say when you're going to be there. I think I'm going to be there June 18th through the 23rd, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I'm coming the 19th to the 24th. Okay. Yeah, you're coming in. You're going to probably go to the basketball event.
I'm going to miss it because I'm flying in a little later. Yeah. Gotcha.
Yep. Yeah, I'm coming in on the 19th to the 24th. The Ape Fest, I think, is the 20th.
Doodles is doing a couple-day event too.
Yeah, I saw that. And so Cool Cats is doing something. It looks like
ton of projects
in New York. All of them. Everybody will. Yeah, for sure.
So,
last year was like that. This year, I can't even imagine. It's going to be insane.
Oh yeah, and I'm going to try to vlog my experience again. I think people seem to really enjoy the vlogs on Twitter.
They did. People did
and I honestly enjoyed creating the content. Like I said, it helps me remember everything that happened and everyone I met. And it's just fun. I'm like a natural content creator at heart. I've been creating content for years in different niches. So it's just fun to do. So I'll do that again for New York for those that aren't able to make it and want to kind of see what happens. With that being said, thank you all so much for listening to our VeeCon recap episode, and we will catch you in the next one. Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to the NFT Catcher Podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned something new about the exciting world of NFTs. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you really love what you're hearing, please leave us a rating and review on your favorite platform. If you want to stay up to date with the latest news and insights from the NFT space, be sure to follow us on all the socials at NFT Catcher Pod. You can follow Jennifer at Jennifer_pseudo and Michael at NFTicket. I'm your producer, Andy, and I'm at AJC254. Our theme song's by It's Just Los. We always appreciate your feedback and support, which helps us reach more people and bring you informative and engaging content about NFTs. We look forward to bringing you more great NFT content in future episodes. Thanks for listening. Peace.